There you are, welcome back. Yes, my filament wall, it's gone. We're back at the old place. This is the old studio. Well, this is the print farm where we have lots of printers that make things, but we're back here and I have to set up the studio part again because that's where we're gonna be filming, even though sometimes the neighbors, they bring their kids and their dogs. Yeah, here's the plan. If you look right over there, there's a shelf in that wall right there. It's 9 feet, a little more than 9 feet across. And the filament shelves at the old studio were 10 feet across. So the plan is to remove that shelf and then in that area, right over there, create the new filament wall. It's gonna be really exciting because I'm gonna move that shelf to somewhere else where it can be of great use. We're going to prep the wall, paint it a specific color. There's 3D printing involved because those old French cleats, those big long pieces of wood that we ripped on the table saw, those won't be used because I've got a trick up my sleeve. And finally, we take the filament off of the precarious shelves that it's on right now, slightly tipping, and we put it in its rightful place on the wall, which I can then light and you can see when we film. Let's get started. The shelf is now empty, so I can take this apart and we can actually get to the wall. Let's do it. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Hot diggity. This wall is great. Oh wait, I did forget one thing. You gotta come down. Just like that. It's a creamish color. Floor, that's fine. But the cream color, man, that's gotta disappear. So now that we have the wall cleared, we have the shelf away, wall is ready. Now we just have to prep and paint. I hope you like the color. The time lapse is done, and as you can tell, we chose black. The wall is black. It's a matte black. It's the blackest black that Home Depot offered, and I think it looks really good. And in the time lapse you saw it was my wife that was doing the painting. She does a fantastic job, much better than I do, and she was more than willing to help. She offered. I didn't even have to beg. It was great. So thank you, Mickey, for painting my wall. Next step in the process is finding the studs in the wall. There's a couple ways to do that. Here, let's go to the wall and I'll show you. To find the studs in the wall, there's a couple different ways to do it. You've got the knock method. That loud noise you hear is because I'm not knocking on a stud. Loud. And you can see the sound tightens up a little bit, and that's because right here we're over a stud, and right there we're not. Now, I've got myself a zircon stud finder as well. You turn it on to stud scan, you put it against the wall, and you start sliding. And I bet any moment it's going to detect the edge of a stud. And right there is where it found the stud. And that's right where the knock actually was showing us that the stud was as well. So what I'm going to do is take this, find the studs in the wall, and mark them with blue tape. And once the studs are marked, I do have a longer level that I can mark where each of the cleats are gonna go, and then we'll get the cleats. All right, let's get this marked. Let's get this show on the road. The studs are all marked on the wall. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and, well, 5. 5 isn't really a mid-wall stud. Typically in US home construction, your internal wall studs are 16 inches on center. These are, it looks to be 24 inches on center. So this is a commercial property, and I don't know the laws and regulations around that, but each of these studs did measure 24 inches in between, except for way, way, way over here. It looks like because where this stud would go, the wall is just a few inches over, and so on that side, the stud itself is actually the end of the wall. So the cleats themselves are printed using my Prusa Mark IIIS Plus print farm, and they're printed in FILAMENT PET G, the orange stuff. It's actually kind of cool. I started those prints the other day, 10 cleats per bed, and I utilized 4 different print beds. And it's kind of neat to see because there's a peculiar way to get to the print farm. I'll show you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The wall comes away, and then we've got the print farm. Right here. These are the machines that I used. This one has a weird PEI surface. This one has an OSEC build plate. This one has a weird smooth PEI surface, and this is an ulti-stick plate. It looks like they all printed quite well. Okay, this one released most. The OSEC is not released. It looks like I do need to pop them up, but once I do, they're good to go. How about this one? Held on just a little bit. And the ulti-stick plate, there we go. Let's bring these out to the bench. Let's take a look. Here we go. look at all these prints right here. These are in FILAMENT PET G, and these are all the Repcord cleats. These are all 3D printed French cleats. The arrow points up. This goes against the wall, and then the brackets that I used for the prints before just kind of slot into place. Oh, hold on. Had to close the print farm down.
Are you open?
Read the sign.
I did print 40 of these, like I said, 10 per plate. It looks like 3 rows means it's just gonna require 15 of these. Unlike the previous studio, I do have more height on the wall. I found the studs. I'm gonna find the place on the wall to put these, and then we're going to drill, we're going to screw in some screws. Let's do it. Look at that. They're up. They're up. Oh my gosh. So 24 inches on center, except at that end, and thank goodness my wife was still here and she could cover up the paint I accidentally scraped off with the edge of the drill motor. No! Everything's fine. It looks really, really good. The last tough thing that we have to do in order for this project to be done is cutting schedule 20, schedule 40, the metal tubing. Oh. Look at that, it doesn't even fit in the frame. It doesn't even fit in the frame. Each one of these is 10 feet long, and to fit on that wall over there, they have to be 9 feet long. And I've learned my lesson from the Ender 7. Let me show you what I got. Have a look. It's a cutoff disc, not a grinding disc, a cutoff disc. And I got two of these, 2 cutoff discs. Here's the thing, the angle grinder that I used on the Ender 7, couldn't find it. So I picked up a cheap new one, 4.5 inch, and I got these, and these should be enough to cut through. I've also got safety glasses. I've also got a respirator, just because I was told that these powder when they're cutting, so we'll see. There might be sparks, I don't know. It's the last bit. Let's get this done. Got my respirator, got my safety goggles, and here's what I did to save some time. I've pre-marked 9 feet on each of these metal poles, metal rods, schedule whatevers. The conduit here is measured to 9 feet over some little blue tape, and then I know that I can cut right through that. What I'm gonna do is clamp that down into my sawhorse here, and then we're gonna cut, and we're gonna get us some 9-foot sections from 10-foot conduit. Safety first. A little warm. There is a little bit of an edge there because I was cutting down. That should be able to be ground off pretty easy. All right, we've got 8 of these. Let's go get them installed. Getting those all cut to size was actually a lot easier than I thought, and boy howdy, do I regret not using a cutting wheel when I modified the Ender 7s. I do have extra cleats, and I think I'm gonna save them because there's plenty of room over there for more filament rows at the bottom. Also, in the spirit of making, it's always really cool to have cutoffs that you can do something fun with. And I've got 8 1-foot sections of this tubing here. If you have ideas, pause right here and then go type those ideas down in the comments. I've got 8 1-foot sections of this, and if we can make something cool, we really should. What's left now is to put the tubing up on the wall to get some measurements to where these are gonna go. These all have to go on the 2 tubes before they go on the wall, and so it's best if I can at least make some marks on the tubing and slide these on the ground and then get them up on the wall. Let's do it. Three more to go. Yeah! Next step, adding filament! Let's do it! Bam! Just like that. We are done. We are done. We have filament on the wall yet again. Now, obviously, looking at this, you can see all sorts of crazy, wonderful filament colors, all sorts of spool types, all sorts of manufacturers. Some of them are full, some of them are nearly gone. I just kind of put stuff on there right now to show that it works. Obviously, that could be triggering to some with the color selection and it not being organized. I get it, don't worry. That will happen by type or color or something. But I'm so stupid thankful because this is what I live for. This is amazing. Organization, projects, and 3D printing, all of it together is just wonderful. What's great is we utilized 3D printing to make cleats that attach to the wall. So rather than having to rip a long piece of wood and then making sure it's level, we utilized 3D printing with Prussium and PET G and the print farm behind the wall to make the cleats. And then we utilized a proper cutoff wheel on an angle grinder to grind a foot off of each of the tubing. And then from there, it was just putting it on the wall. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And I'm really thankful you came along this journey with me. Look, I'm really looking forward to giving you lots more fun project ideas with 3D printing and digital fabrication, and the future's looking good. Listen, if you made it this far, you're awesome. Don't forget to hug each other more. Fight for a cause you believe in. And as always, high five. Look at that wall! Look at it! Look at that wall! Oh, yeah. Yeah!